And friends, we're live. Good to see you back here on this Friday. Rusty with you here. CFLW, the show for this Friday, March the 14th. I hope you're doing well. A lot to get into in this video. We're going to break down what we're going to be looking at for the weekend ahead. We're going to talk about some pretty active weather. Really one of the highest in severe weather setups for portions of the central and eventually the southeast United States that we've actually had in years. We'll talk about how that might impact us here as we get into our Sunday. As we get this started, appreciate you guys tuning in. CFLW, the show, is sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. They cover the entire state, guys. Homeowners, condo owners, associations, anything that could impact you or your property. Think flood, hurricanes, hail, car accidents. They're going to walk you through every step of the insurance claim process. Offer free consultations and policy reviews. It's leanonmelaw.com. If you would like more information, you can see their website at the bottom of your screen. Good to see you guys on this. As I take myself off camera on accident, good to see you guys on this Friday. Hi, Blue Goose. Hey, Jay, how you doing as well? Nice to see you. So we're going to talk about kind of what I expect for the rest of today. Then we're going to set up for the weekend because there's some big changes ahead for us here across the area. Right now, it's a beautiful afternoon. Temperatures will be warming up. You can see that, again, we're warming up nicely into the 70s right now. It looks like we just dropped the temperatures here right at the end of this loop. So I'll go back here and you'll just get these nice, gorgeous conditions outside right now. Again, 72 in the Villages and Leesburg. Same thing for Daytona Beach. Again, these numbers are going to climb throughout the day. It's going to be a beautiful, warm, and dry afternoon across our area. Winds should be relatively light in most areas for today. Somewhat on the variable side, just kind of depending on where you are. You can see when I put these vectors on and make them just a little bit bigger for you guys, you're going to notice that if nothing else, it's kind of a gentle north breeze in our northern areas. It turns a little bit more out of the east. So it's going to be a bit of an onshore breeze along the coast today of our east coast from St. Augustine, Palm Coast, Daytona Beach, back down towards Merritt Island and Palm Bay. That will actually keep temperatures there fairly comfortable. It'll be a little bit warmer today in the central and the western sides of the area here. But when I show you guys the water vapor imagery, all of the red that you see is dry air, and that's what we have in place for today for the most part, right? We're gonna have a little bit of moisture begin to return late into the period, and you guys need to get ready for an absolutely warm weekend ahead. We are talking about temperatures that are going to be flirting with near record highs across the area on Saturday and Sunday. Hi, Blue Goose. Good afternoon. 71 beautiful degrees in St. Augustine. Love it. Great weather there. Great weather up in Jacksonville for the Players Championship going on right now if you're a PGA golf fan as well. Let's bring on the enhanced satellite imagery. Again, skies are clear here at this point in time. Gorgeous day. And because we're talking about what's happening right now, what do you say we take a look at our cameras? We'll start off with our Conway cam. Beautiful shot. Of course, this is from near downtown Orlando, just kind of south and east of downtown. You can see there's slight vertical development to the clouds, but they're fair weather cumulus clouds today. Relatively high bases, not expecting any rain whatsoever. Mostly sunny skies. And again, at the bottom of your screen, you can see live temperatures updating across the area. How you doing, Garrett? Watching the Players? I haven't watched any, but I did kind of sneak a look at the current leaderboard about an hour ago, and I saw that Rory McIlroy had jumped into the lead, which is always cool. He's a good golfer, looking good. This is from our Winter Garden camera. Again, if you guys are new to the channel or you haven't tuned in a little bit, this is one of our brand new cameras. We're looking west. This is on the western side of Orange County, kind of the far western metro Orlando area. And again, just thin, high, wispy clouds out there, plenty of sunshine. Going to be a beautiful afternoon. Going to show you guys our camera out of the Disney area, right? This is our Walt Disney camera, but I told you guys we were going to be adding features and adding cameras, and part of that is that we're adding actually the ability to rotate this camera 360 degrees, right? So anytime we would be tracking storms, we would have the ability to basically spin this camera around. Now, we're actually testing this camera out here at the Disney facility, if you will, but we have the option to move this camera. But you guys get the idea that we're trying to add more technology here to CFLW to bring you guys more of an enhanced experience. In this camera, again, I'm just kind of spinning it around to show you, could flip 360. So if the sea breeze storms are moving in from east to west, right, we can swing to the east side and watch the storms roll in. If that day they're moving west to east, we can flip this camera around and we can watch those storms moving from west to east. So you guys get the idea. But regardless of where I'm turning this camera on this Friday afternoon, you're going to see nothing but pretty fair skies out there. But again, this is kind of some of the technical implementation that we're going to be bringing on here to CFLW. And again, the thought is also to expand the coverage of our cameras as well. But pretty neat idea here, right? To be able to basically spin this camera around and look where we have to at that point in time. Blue Goose rooting for Jordan Spieth, man. If I'm not mistaken, isn't he? Oh no, that's Justin Thomas. I know Justin Thomas was way down the leaderboard. Probably wasn't going to make the cut. I'm actually not sure where Spieth is. I'm a relative PGA golf fan. You know, I mean, I grew up in the era of Tiger, obviously. Obviously, Scotty Scheffler's great. I do watch the Full Swing documentary on Netflix, and I actually just got done watching season 3. So. Those guys are so good. It's ridiculous. I think it's the sport where like you have the biggest gap between amateurs and pros. It's just unbelievable how good they are. All right, so that was our look at the cameras at this point in time. Let's get back to the weather story, because I'm going to talk about, and it is going to impact us. We're going to look at what's happening across the country right now. So I'm going to go out to this wide view. Let's bring on our radar. Okay, we have a developing storm system right now in the central United States, which is going to bring all modes of severe weather. It's not hard to pick out where we have this broad circulation right now developing, coming off the Intermountain West and into the Southern Plains. You can already start to see the first signs of these storms beginning to flare up. Now, I'm mentioning this for a couple of different reasons. First of all, this system will eventually impact our area, but this is such a high-end severe weather event that if you're watching and you know anyone who lives in the areas that I'm going to be talking about, you want to just make sure that they understand the kind of weather they're either going to see today or tomorrow or very early on Sunday. So that's the situation there. Take a look at these temperatures, by the way, guys. You want to look at just ample warm weather driving into this warm sector of this system, right? So if I throw on, there's the low right here, but all ahead of this, you have south winds, which, by the way, in Oklahoma City have been gusting over 60 miles an hour. The amount of warm, moist, unstable air that is pulling into Arklatex in the Midwest is outrageous, all right? And there's plenty of upper level dynamics to fire off a lot of severe weather. This is going to be a bad situation. These are the gusts that I'm talking about, by the way. Amarillo had nearly a 70-mile-an-hour wind gust. Lubbock almost had a 70. From time to time overnight, Oklahoma City out to the western sides of Oklahoma had 50 to 60. So that's the situation. When I show you the Storm Prediction Center risk of severe weather for today, you're going to see that red. Now that red is the moderate category, all right? I and many other meteorologists completely disagree with how the Storm Prediction Center labels each of these, okay? The dark green is your marginal risk of severe weather. That's the 1 out of 5. That's fine, all right? Slight risk is the yellow, 2 out of 5 on the scale. Okay, enhanced is the orange, which is 3 out of 5. That's pretty bad. But then the red, the 4 out of 5 is moderate. Doesn't enhanced seem like it would be worse than moderate? And then 5 out of 5, which is thankfully not on the board, at least as of yet, is the pink. And those are very, very rare days. But to have an enhanced risk or a moderate risk, I just don't agree with this. Never have ever since they changed it. For this large of an area, from Iowa to central and the eastern sides of Missouri, a lot of central, western, southwestern sides of Illinois, kind of sneaking into portions of Tennessee, Kentucky, and even the northern sides of Mississippi. But the severe weather will be much more widespread. I mean, I'm talking about the western Great Lakes, the upper Midwest, through the entire Midwest, and into the southeast, with all modes of severe weather expected for today. If we look at the significant tornado threat, look how large this ring is, guys. And what this ring tells you is that there's at least a 10% chance of an EF2 to EF5 tornado within 25 miles of any given point within this ring, all right? That is a significant risk for a large, long-track tornado in these areas. And unfortunately, some of this could be diurnal, or nocturnal, meaning it doesn't develop until the evening hours and overnight. To have nighttime significant tornadoes is not fantastic at all. The probability of 2-inch plus size hail is in about the same areas as well. Okay, 2-inch size hail or higher, completely damaging hail. And the wind threat, winds of 65 knots or higher, 70 miles or higher, is actually all the way up to places like Chicago, near Milwaukee, all of Iowa, Missouri. Again, a lot of the upper Midwest associated with this. Yeah, I mean, the setup is a extremely dynamic one, no doubt about it. And it's not going to be shocking if at some point in time they even issue the high risk 5 out of 5, right? I haven't looked at the mesoscale discussions yet. Let's see if they have any. They do, and that's going to be the severe potential. So it does look like kind of west, southwest Missouri is going to be the first area that could potentially get into the active severe weather to begin with here, right? So the Storm Prediction Center issues these mesoscale discussions, meaning that they're small scale, local scale, saying, hey, look, this is what we're keeping an eye on. Is there any watches as of yet? Does not look like it. All right. So that's the situation today, okay? And we'll take a look at the models and all of that, but I just wanted to kind of show you how big this is. And I mean, even the marginal risk goes down to the coastline, New Orleans, Biloxi, places like that. Tomorrow, everything kind of shifts south and east, but the biggest threat actually shifts south. So now you have this enhanced risk for portions of Louisiana and Mississippi and a good chunk of Alabama. Really concerned about Alabama for tomorrow evening, Birmingham, Montgomery, Mobile, even our Western Panhandle, including Pensacola, obviously New Orleans, including in this, Jackson, Mississippi. And it's kind of the same situation. If we look at it, kind of breaking it down, the tornado threat, 10% chance of an EF2 tornado to EF5 within a 25-mile radius. I mean, look how widespread this is. This even includes Tallahassee for late tomorrow, right? So significant higher end tornado threat is expected for our Saturday in these areas. The hail threat, these storms should kind of lose some of their upper level punch as they move east. The low level energy and the tornadoes should still continue. But for Tennessee, Mississippi, and Alabama, again, 2-inch plus size hail will more than likely accompany the most stout of storms. And the wind threat is still going to be significant. Again, you're looking at winds in this area that could be over 70 miles an hour. So big time problems. Hey, Ed, good to see you. Appreciate you tuning in. It's a huge situation throughout the Midwest and the Southeast for today and tomorrow. And then eventually on Sunday, right? On Sunday, this kind of elongates itself. The main low will track pretty far to the north. It's going to drag a front across the United States East Coast, all the way from, you know, the Delmarva Peninsula and the Mid-Atlantic, right on back through the Southeast. Now for us, we are going to catch the tail end of this, okay? So there is a slight risk, or the 2 out of 5, for far northern areas, right? It kind of slices right over St. Augustine, Putnam County, Palatka, Gainesville, the northwest sides of Marion County, Ocala, Levy County, the far northern sides of Citrus County, Crystal River. Then you have the marginal risk for the rest of our northern areas, basically north of I-4, right? Palm Coast, Daytona Beach, all of Lake County, Astor, towards, you know, Claremont and the Villages, and Crystal River, again, right on the edge, Inverness, Spring Hill, back down towards Tampa, St. Pete. It's a very small sliver, and you notice it cuts off pretty quickly because these storms should begin to fade relatively fast as they move into our area on Sunday afternoon. Doesn't mean they won't be marginally severe, but they're going to be losing some of their upper level punch, and even kind of the mid-level instability is going to be pulled farther to the north. And again, this is a more just kind of generalized, widespread severe event, although it's not going to be high end for Sunday, right? There could be some rowdier storms within this line, but again, I'm not nearly as concerned for Sunday across this area. And then for us in particular, again, think some stronger storms could move into our far northern areas closer to I-10. They should begin to fade a little bit here. Now, if they can hold together and they move in during the late daylight hours of Sunday, 1 or 2 could stay on the stronger to isolated severe side. Look, we do have a 2 out of 5 here in the yellow area, so take it seriously here. Main threat's going to be the winds and maybe some smaller sized hail, maybe less than 3/4 inch sized hail. Absolutely. Jay's talking about Puerto Rico, by the way. Media Mundo did it yesterday. They're getting a lot of heavy rain. They've had some urban and street flooding, some flash flooding there in portions of Puerto Rico. So appreciate Jay tuning in. So let's go back over to this presentation here. This is our visible satellite and then our temperature, just to kind of show you again, what does this monster look like on this visible satellite imagery. Look at that, guys. Let me take off the temperatures here because they even fell off. But just look at, you wake up, and again, I worked in Oklahoma City for 7 years. You wake up in this situation, and you can just kind of feel it. The low-level jet is streaming in, right? Pulling in all that warm moisture from the Gulf, and you're already getting that convective bands. So bad situation here. It's going to be a really rough couple of days for them. All right. What do you say we take a look at the radars? Or excuse me, the models. Yeah, currently, by the way, again, just back over to the radar. None of that looks to be severe as of yet. But man, when they're out there by themselves already, it's gangbusters time, unfortunately. All right, so we'll take a look at the HER model first, and then I'll take a look at the GFS, because again, the HER is just not gonna get us all the way to our time frame. Let's see here, let's start at 3 o'clock. All right, so it's just gonna take a second to loop up. I'll go back over to the chat. First of all, appreciate you guys tuning in on this Friday. A couple of things. Thank you for liking this video. Thank you for subscribing to CFLW. Appreciate all of those who tuned into the live coverage last Friday when I was tracking storms. Do want to make a programming note. There will be no CFLW the shows next week, so I will not be on live next Monday or Friday at 1 p.m. It is spring break week for us here, and I have 2 school-age kids, and we're going to take advantage of the fact that the weather's a little bit quieter this time of the year to do some family stuff. So does not mean that if the weather got rowdy enough that I wouldn't try and pop on and cover it live, but I'm not going to be doing the planned Monday and Friday shows next week. I think, as you guys know, the deeper into spring and summer that we get, I'm going to be going on a daily basis with the channels that I have, with the sea breeze storms here, with the hurricane coverage on Media Mundo, just doing daily updates on Media Mundo. So we don't get to do a lot as a family in the summer months because Dad's busy. So we're going to take advantage of the spring break, and you know how it is. You only get so many years when your kids are school age to go out and have some fun with them. So we're going to do that. Oh, it's rowdy, Blue Goose. No doubt about it. You want to speak about rowdy. Look at this low that just absolutely wraps itself up over Iowa. And again, track the severe storms here off of this HER model, right? Just watch that move in. Really significant parameter for severe weather. Let's see here. If we look at what's called surface cape, see if this will load up for me. Maybe I can do, yeah, there's your surface cape. All right, it's loading up now. Basically, cape is kind of just like, what kind of lift is there really, or dynamics in the atmosphere, right? And when you start getting into these reds and these whites, anything here over 3,000, 3,500 is pretty significant. If you start to get into 4,500, right? And you can almost see there's kind of 2 maximums, right? Later today, some of that springs up, and then tomorrow, watch it reflare back over Louisiana and Mississippi. In some ways, tornadic-wise, I'm actually a little bit more concerned tomorrow about here. I don't like what I'm seeing. There's plenty of things that you guys can look at. Colorado State has kind of like an index of severe weather, and it's basically maxed out. The tornadic threat for high-end long-track tornadoes is basically maxed out. Maybe I've seen that one other time. Might have seen it back when I worked in Oklahoma City in 2013 when we had a couple of EF5s. But it's just not a good situation here. Hey, thanks, Blue Goose. Hey, Teresa, how you doing? So again, my point of showing you all of this is 2 things. One, if you know anyone who lives in the areas that I just mentioned, please just make sure that they're aware. I mean, it's such a huge area, right? We probably all know someone who lives in either this part of the country or this part of the country. Again, that was yesterday, that was today, this is tomorrow. And then for us, we will eventually kind of pull this in, at least in a little bit. So let's take a look at the GFS model, and then we'll look at some forecasts. So let me go over to the GFS. It'll take a second just for me to reset this. Let's see here. We'll go up 3 days. Today's the 14th, right? Monday. Happy St. Patrick's Day, by the way. I'm going to miss that with you guys. For, you know, Irish folks like myself or non-Irish folks, it doesn't matter. Have a pint, right? St. Patty's Day on a Monday always seems kind of like a waste, right? Unless you're extending that 3-day weekend. Thank you, Teresa. Yep, so listen, I come on at 1 o'clock live, and I appreciate everyone who tunes in live. You can always watch a replay of this on the CFLW YouTube channel. It's on the live tab, right? So if you are not available right at 1 o'clock, but you still want to watch the show, and a lot of you do, you can catch it in the replay. I love to have you guys live because a few things. We can obviously chat together, right? And that's what I love about the interaction, okay? And if you have a specific question, you can drop it in the comments. If you are watching the replay, though, you are more than welcome to drop a comment down. If you have a question, I do go back and look, and I'm happy to answer those questions. So again, late Sunday, right? Here's 8 a.m. And you can see that a lot of the energy just kind of moves. It does begin to kind of become linear in nature. You can really see that. I mean, all the way from upstate New York back down to our area. So we'll start to see this, you know, move in late afternoon, but it should also begin to fade a bit as well. Again, this is the GFS. There's 11 o'clock on Sunday, 2 o'clock, 5, 8, and then it should fizzle. If it can't get here by sunset, we should really lose the heat of the day, the instability, and all that. And I want to be clear, the heat of the day, the next 2 afternoons, is going to feel like summer. Our daytime highs are going to be in the upper 80s. I don't want to say we're going to hit 90, but is it going to be plausible? Absolutely. That's how warm it's going to be. And by the way, as you would expect, the winds coming in with this are going to be out of the south. So it's going to be pretty darn sticky as well. It's not going to feel like mid-March over the weekend. Now, that being said, if you want to, you know, if you like the warmer weather, if you can tolerate a good breeze, most of the weekend looks pretty good. There is some brisk north winds to cool us back down beginning on Monday. But tomorrow, our winds will be out of the south, maybe a slight southeast component along the east coast, but 20 to 25 miles an hour in most spots. The winds will even freshen up a little bit more, maybe 20 to 30 on Sunday, all out of the south. Temperatures again in the upper 80s, and then here comes that rain, which should fizzle out. Behind it, winds will turn out of the north. Nothing outrageously cold, but certainly much cooler starting on Monday afternoon, and dry weather coming back in. So there you go. That's what it looks like locally for us with this storm system rolling across the area. I'll show you one more model. It gets us out to 8 o'clock, so it's close enough. This will be the NAM. I don't think we need to show the vectors. You guys already saw that. I actually haven't looked at the NAM today yet. It was one of those I hadn't caught yet, so we'll let it loop up if it wants to cooperate. There we go. This is the 3-kilometer NAM, so it's the higher resolution NAM, so it only goes out 60 hours. When I'm tracking a severe weather event, like when I worked in Oklahoma City, or even here or wherever, I mean, you want as much information as possible. You eventually have to pick and choose what you believe, right? But analysis-wise, you want to take a look at every model, especially the higher resolution models that are coming out hourly now. There's so much more data. But this is actually pretty spot on, I think. I mean, you can see now the storms developing right here. Now, they're developing a little bit earlier because they're already getting going in that area. But notice how that first initial kick gets thrown up into Illinois. And then you have, once the south winds open up here in this warm sector, watch that next redevelopment right here, right? And that's going to be for tomorrow. And then for us, so I'm with what the NAM is kind of showing here. And again, you can see my concern for Louisiana, Mississippi, and maybe even northern Alabama. Birmingham might have some issues late tomorrow. For us, you know, here it comes in. Now the NAM is definitely a little bit stronger, right? Holding this together a little bit better. Here's 5 o'clock. Now, what will probably happen is if the NAM holds up, the south winds are going to be so strong, you guys are going to see these clouds just ripping from south to north, right? Those fast-moving low-level clouds that might actually have a little bit of rain associated with them. So we might actually get some prefrontal light showers developing in the afternoon ahead of the main line, whatever that's going to bring. So don't be caught off guard or surprised if out ahead of the main line, you start to see a few showers develop south of it and kind of just coming in. But you notice even by 8 o'clock, right? So here's the NAM, right? It's holding together pretty darn good. We get to 5 o'clock, then we get to 6 and 7, and it just starts to wane a little bit. Again, northwest areas, best chance to hold on to a few stronger storms. So maybe Hernando County, northern sides of Sumter, Lake, Marion, certainly Citrus, Levy counties, Alachua counties will be included in that. Maybe back over to St. John's, Duval. Those are the areas I would expect if we catch a storm to kind of hold together with some stronger winds. You know, special weather statements, maybe low end severe thunderstorm warnings. But obviously, we are lucky, relatively speaking, to what a huge chunk of the central and the eastern United States is going to see out of this massive storm system. Just so much instability out there. All right, so let's break down a couple of the old forecasts for you guys, just to give you an idea of what I'm expecting. Uh-oh. Did I not put them in? There we go. Might have to do this manually. I thought I put them in. Orlando. Here's what it looks like. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies. How about a near record high of 88 degrees? We've already mentioned the south winds 20 to 25 miles an hour. 64 the morning low. Again, kind of an early summer afternoon, right? Guess what? It stays just as hot, just as muggy, just as breezy for Sunday. 88 again the daytime high. These are not records, but they're really close in Orlando, with a 50% chance, again, late day showers and storms. Now, you catch a few showers mid-afternoon, nothing more than that, fast-moving showers. The rumbles of thunder might come near sunset and just beyond, but again, hopefully the intensity is waning. We don't get any severe weather here in Central Florida. Now, we could still have a few leftover showers around daybreak Monday. So I didn't include that, but I want to be clear that some of this rain could linger to right around daybreak on St. Patrick's Day. But generally speaking, as those north winds kick in, it's going to dry out the air and it's going to be cooler out there with a high of 73. That's slightly cooler than average, but about 15 degrees cooler than what we had. Gonna have to do the same thing with this graphic as well. All right, for Tampa, again, sunny and warm, not as hot as Orlando, right? A little bit of an onshore breeze, 82 the daytime high, but still the humidity cranked up for mid-March. No threat for any rain. Again, when the rain and storms move in on Sunday, it's going to be pretty late in the day, more than likely near or after sunset. So for Sunday, generally speaking, it's not bad if you want to get out and play around a golf in the morning, but again, good luck trying to hit it into that wind. 84 the daytime high on Sunday in Tampa. And then again, a few leftover daybreak showers are possible. Skies will clear after that. We'll end the day partly to mostly sunny, and the temperature back down to 72 degrees. And then we'll be looking pretty nice there. Oh, an easy 15-degree drop. There's no doubt about it, Blue Goose. An easy 15-degree drop from the temperatures that we're going to see from the afternoon hours of Saturday and Sunday. But again, let's be clear, right? Let's be clear that these are near record highs. And so we'll be just slightly below average, but nothing outrageous. Again, another beautiful shot for the Winter Garden camera here. We're looking out to the west. A lot of clear sky, a little bit of cloud coverage out there from time to time for today. You saw a little bit more cloud coverage over Conway here near downtown Orlando, but again, everything is fair weather for this afternoon. So let's go back over to our weather computer here, and again, bring up temperatures real quick. It does look like that data might have just dropped off here. Give me 1 second. When I make the switch, I got to reset a couple things. Let's get the timeline back on. Let's see here. Yeah, Those look like that data might have just dropped off at the hour. No big deal. We already talked about how we're in the 70s today, climbing up. So again, guys, just to kind of recap the situation across the area, storms are beginning to develop already in the Central Plains into the Midwest. These are going to be very rowdy storms. All modes of severe weather are likely in this region. It's going to start off eastern Kansas, southwest sides of Missouri, portions of Arkansas, just kind of spin up. We have a moderate risk of severe storms. That's a 4 out of 5 on the scale from the SPC. Again, I don't know why moderate is considered higher than enhanced. To me, the words are wrong, but you get the idea. This is a big time situation in this area, including long track tornadoes. Eventually, the severe weather moves a little bit farther south for tomorrow. So a lot of Louisiana, especially Mississippi and Alabama, are in that. But notice that the slight risk goes all the way up to northern Ohio, right? Very, very active weather for a large chunk here east of the Mississippi. And then again for Sunday, the intensity should come down, but we still have this slight risk from Philadelphia all the way into the I-10 corridor here of the peninsula. It does include Jacksonville and Gainesville on the northern sides of Citrus County. That's the slight risk, 2 out of 5. And then you've got the green here. Now I just showed you the models, right? The HER is a little bit too far out in time to see that, but the GFS really breaks apart this storm activity before it gets here, and then the NAM tries to hold it together a bit closer to like Gainesville, but even then, if the storms can't make it into our area closer to sunset, and if it happens a little bit beyond, these storms should fall apart. So again, I'm expecting isolated strong to maybe a severe storm in our area late in the day on Sunday. Anyone have any questions for me here on this Friday afternoon? It's an absolutely beautiful Friday. And you know, I appreciate you guys. If not, I think we're going to wrap up the show for today. So once again, I appreciate you all tuning in. CFLW, the show, is brought to you by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida. You can see their logo and their website on the bottom of your screen. Great people there, Bobby Lean and the team. They cover all of Florida. So again, you know, you never like to think about it, but if something impacts you or your property, and you need to talk about what's happening with your insurance claim, they're there to walk you through every step of the insurance claim process. Of course, when these storms come through and you get damage to your home or your property or anything, yourself as well, in a car accident, they can help you guys out. They offer free consultation and policy reviews. Go to leanonmelaw.com if you would like more information. Guys, have a great rest of your Friday. Again, no CFLW, the shows next week. If something were to strike up and I need to make a post, or if there's an opportunity that I desperately need to come on live, I will try and make those accommodations. If not, I will see you guys back on Monday the 24th for the next edition of CFLW, the show. You guys take care. Have a great weekend and the great rest of your next week. Appreciate it, Blue Goose. Thanks everyone for tuning in. And again, I'll see you guys shortly. Y'all take care.
you.